Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where we explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Bogarts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. All right, let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to be talking about making business decisions and how life is just too short for maybe. And today, my guest is Jan Janzen, and she is an author and decision expert who writes about the choices that shape business and life. Her upcoming book, and it may be out by now by the time you're listening to this, Devil with a Briefcase, Stop Whining. Stop winging it, start winning, and is built around 101 decisions that entrepreneurs make to move from chaos to structure and results. After decades in business, Jan's work focuses on clarity, conviction, and building something that works without second guessing. Thank God, because I second guess myself all the time. I'm very excited for this conversation. Welcome, Jan. I'm super excited to have you here.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here. And I have to chuckle when you said, stop whining. That's maybe not a bad thing either. Just stop whining, stop winging it. That's a good one. And start winning. I love it. I think that was absolutely a Freudian slip that was meant to happen. Love it.
Yeah, both things. Stop whining and stop winging it. Just like, yeah. So yeah, tell me about, how you got into this field of work and why you're so passionate about it and kind of what brought you to write your book.
This is a rewrite of a book that I wrote in 2004.
Oh, wow.
I wrote Devil with a Briefcase the first time in 2004.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. What happened, and this is really the basis of the book. I spent 38 years in a very high control religion. I was a Jehovah's Witness for 38 years. Wow. My first husband and I chose to escape, and we did. 8 months later, my husband, after me losing everything that was familiar, my friends, my family, all of my community, he said to me, I don't want to be married to you anymore. So I lost literally everything in less than a year. It was a very tough time, needless to say. And I went through a lot. I was homeless a couple of times. I was on the verge of bankruptcy. And I had to, completely revise my life because it had been very much documented how I was to think, what I was to say, who I was to be within I call it a cult. And then I lost my best friend and my husband. And so it was a very challenging time. And it was also probably one of the most freeing times because I got to decide at at an older age, who do I want to be when I grow up? Who do I want to be now at 38 years of age? And it was a lot of fun. And I am thrilled. Seriously, I'm going to be 65 this year. And I feel absolutely on top of the world, ready to go, and amazing and excited.
Oh, that's so great. That's you give me hope because I feel like right now in my life, I'm in a bit of a transition. I'm feeling a little bit lost with that. And I'm like, okay. And it was just kind of dawned on me the other week. I was like, oh yeah, actually, why don't I think about that? Who do I want to be? What do I want the second half of my life to look like? And who do I want to be in that life? And so I just kind of started getting excited about that a little bit. So I love that you said that you did something around the similar age and that you're, 20 years into the future and loving it.
Well, I think also because my second husband passed away 3.5 years ago, and I watched him die a very gruesome death. And it really made me realize, watching someone lay on their deathbed who was brilliant, a genius, who was an amazing doctor out of the US, I'm Canadian, it was incredible. He was incredible. And to watch him literally fade away, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, obviously. But it was also like, okay, now what are you going to do? And to have that fresh start really at this
Mm.
age was a gift because I get to be whatever I want to be right now. I have no one telling me what to do, no one that I have to please. I just can do what I want. And I want to make that impact on the world that I've wanted to do all my life, and I have been. But now I really have that ability, Elisa, because
Awesome.
we need help. The world needs help. And entrepreneurs are a breed of their own. They
Mm.
have to make decisions. We have no income ceiling. We don't have a job. We can earn as much money as we want. We can do what we want with it. And that's exciting,
That's exciting.
especially in these times.
Absolutely. Wow. Love it. So, as you know, season three of this show is all about scaling on your terms, and how when we scale in our business, it's really important to do it on our terms and to sort of stay grounded in our values and our integrity and our authentic selves. So yeah, tell me how you've scaled on your terms. I guess we kind of just talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah,
yeah.
a little bit. But what I really appreciate now is at 19, I bought a franchise with my mom. It was the Molly Maid franchise, the home cleaning service. That was
Yes,
a
I know
very new
them.
concept, right? A very new concept. And about 6, 7 months, and I paid for half of it. And about 6, 7 months into it, I thought, I absolutely hate this. And it wasn't the cleaning. I was fine with the cleaning. Although I was supposed to have employees do it, it was the whole employee situation. Someone just
Mm,
phone up and say, "Hey, I'm not coming to work today," and I've got 18 houses that need to be cleaned. That's not fun. And I
right.
realized very, very quickly that I never wanted to have employees. And I said to my mom, "I don't want to do this anymore." And she said, "Well, then I'm not buying you out." And I said, "That's fine. I'm walking away." And I did. That
Wow.
was a big decision. And yet I am so grateful for learning that lesson of what I wanted and what I didn't want very, very early on. So one of
Hmm.
the things that in scaling is I have always used subcontractors who are entrepreneurs because
Ah.
they're running their own business, they're more responsible, and it's created an entirely different environment. And so it's one of the things I would say right away when you're scaling, use people who are business oriented and don't have that employee mentality of, okay, I've done the work, where's my paycheck?
Right.
Sometimes you need people as an entrepreneur to go above and beyond
Hmm.
what originally was decided. And an entrepreneur will do that because
Yeah,
that's
I
the
agree.
mentality that they have.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I've always had that mentality in it, but I waited so long to become an entrepreneur. I only became one in the 2021, and so yeah, that's a really good point. I never really made that connection.
Yes.
But
So that's a big part of it is how you bring into your world. Because as an entrepreneur, you have that privilege and that right to decide who comes into your world. And I've never been afraid to say, okay, I learned what I needed to learn out of this business and I'm moving on. And
hmm
people say, well, you've been a serial entrepreneur. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, okay. Do I have to, do I have to eat the same thing for the rest of my life? Do I have to wear the same clothes for the rest of my life? As I evolve, sometimes our businesses evolve. And
Absolutely.
I think that I really believe that as entrepreneurs, that's a decision that we get to make. What do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want to be doing? Because if you're not having fun, like, why are you doing this? You may as well go get a job.
Right. Yeah, totally. Totally. Which I think brings us perfectly into this, that life's too short for maybe, and
It
let's
is.
dive into that and about like decision making because like you were just saying a lot of that, like an entrepreneur, my gosh, we make so many, as human beings, we make a lot of decisions every day, but as entrepreneurs, the decisions we make, affects our livelihood. And so,
It
yeah,
definitely does.
yeah.
And what's so strange, and I shake my head at this, is nobody ever talks about how you make decisions. They assume we know. I've read one book on decision making by Raymond Charles Barker, The Power of Decision, and I read it like 25 times because I loved it so much. But that book is probably 40 years old.
Hmm.
There is not a lot of books on how to make decisions because everybody assumes because we make a zillion of them every day, we
Right.
should be good awesome, but that's not necessarily the truth. But when you think about it, every single thing in our life, every single thing in our life is based on the decisions we make. What time we get
Hmm.
up, what we're going to have for breakfast, what we're going to wear, what color our hair is. Every single thing is based on decisions, and yet we have no manual for it. Like, isn't that a bit weird?
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. And it's no
Yeah.
wonder that so many people hate making decisions
Mm,
because they've never been taught how to. Or so many people make really bad decisions, and then that kind of freaks them out even more. And then they even less want to make decisions because they don't seem to work out well. And then they say, I just, I just can't do it.
right.
So learning how to make decisions is fundamental. And there's some really easy tools.
Yeah, would love to know one. Would you be willing to share one?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I love, because to me it's important having lived the life I did for the first 38 years of my life where I had no freedom and I had no choice. It was, this is how it's done, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. When you think about what's your priority in your life right now? What's your one thing about whatever it is? So I'm going to give you an example. I traveled the world for 9 years, living out of two suitcases. It was pretty wild. It was totally fun. But at night, at the end of 9 years, I said, I just want a home. So what we
Mhm.
wanted, my husband and I, we wanted quiet, we wanted privacy, we wanted nature. We didn't want to see anybody because the world is noisy. Especially we traveled all through Central America, all through Asia. It's noisy. And all we wanted was peace and quiet and solitude. And then we got it. We lived on 20 acres up at the top of a mountain and we never saw anybody. It was perfect. Best decision. And then he dies. And all of a sudden, I'm left up at the top of this mountain, and there's nobody there. I don't know any neighbors. It's really quiet. I'm talking to my cats an awful lot. And so I had to make a new decision because my one thing, my priority changed. I
Yeah.
now wanted community. And
Hmm.
so in July of this year, I sold the house, I moved into a new house, and I have an
Amazing.
amazing community. I cannot walk up and down the street without talking to people, and I'm now part of the welcoming committee to the community. And I've got events happening, but you see how that changed? And
Right.
people never think about, well, what's my priority right now? And I think this is so important, Lisa, that people also think that if they make a decision, they have to stick with it for like to the day they die. You can
Right.
change your mind. I give you full permission to change your mind. A decision is not forever. It's for the
Right.
time that it's a benefit to you. And then you can
Hmm.
say, it's no longer a benefit. I've changed my mind and I'm doing this. And that's your prerogative.
Absolutely. It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. And things do change and circumstances change and you change and your priorities change. And yeah, I think that's really good point. And yeah, it doesn't have to be forever. And I think that like when it comes to business, um, I think sometimes like, switching too much can be detrimental to your business a bit, right? If you sort of have goals and you're constantly, or I've seen, you know, entrepreneurs who haven't, like, I think that as you do scale, you kind of get into like the flow of that and you get like, you do sort of like planning and things and kind of make decisions that way. And you sort of have like a heading as to where you're going. But like newer entrepreneurs, I find that they kind of switch around everywhere instead of experimenting and iterating on things and developing on them. They more like, okay, well, now I'm going to be completely like be with a different niche. I'm going to completely, big changes of big decisions, but they're more of a reaction to maybe something not working or no one showing up to their masterclass or what have you. So I think that there's sort of like we need to have some kind of wisdom in there as well to feel like what is the decision
Absolutely.
that I'm making, and then maybe the decision is more to make a tweak and try again and experiment on something than completely
Right.
throwing the baby out with the bathwater kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's why that's one of the tools. The other one of the other things and it's a really good point that you make. Lots of times we get frustrated by the decisions we make, and that's, hey, welcome to life on planet Earth. That's life. There isn't a human being that hasn't got frustrated at some point in time. But if we have the patience to really sit back and look at ourselves and go, okay, so what do I want? And why did I make that decision? And why would I make a different decision now? Or how
Mm,
can I make this work? by simply tweaking something. Sometimes you don't have to throw the whole baby out with the bathwater. You can keep the bathwater. You can maybe keep the baby. You could maybe just change the baby up a little bit, and that's done. And you can be
Mm-hmm.
happy. But the problem is that a lot of entrepreneurs aren't really clear on what's important to them.
Mm.
And that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. I've been one now for 38 years. And I have to say, those of us who are entrepreneurs, we signed up for a tough job.
Yeah.
It's not easy being an entrepreneur. There's no
Mm-mm.
one here to pat you on the back or, say you've done a good job most of the time. And it's also really hard because the responsibility is all on you. You have to make all those decisions. And that's
Yes.
tough.
Mm-hmm. It's really tough. Yeah. When I work with my clients and, I'm working towards launching their program and doing their event, that is one of the first things that I do with them is I sort of pull all the information out of them. And in order for me to put together, just to kind of figure out what launch that they do want, what does that look like? What type of event do you want to do? And all these and I ask them a lot of questions because then as I pull the information out, then I can make a plan and then I can execute on it for them. And I noticed that I used to sometimes do like a 3 hour planning session. And I realized that the video was like, that is 3 hours of making decisions back to back to back to back. It's like far too exhausting. And so, yes, I completely changed the way in which I do it. But though it's like, in doing that, even for something for a launch, you want to launch your program, there are like hundreds of decisions that needed to be made. And you as the entrepreneur, it is your job to make those decisions. Like, if I come in as a launch manager to help you execute on it, I don't make those decisions. I'm going to be asking you because it's your business and it's your launch and where you want to go with it. So, yeah, and we have to be responsible and held accountable for all of them as well. So, and entrepreneurship, the accountability side of it, if a decision wasn't quite aligned or what have you, can really sort of bite you in the butt.
It's not for the faint of heart.
No.
People who often are in jobs and they complain. I kind of laugh. I think, well, it's not easy on the other side because it looks like we have all the time. We can plan what we want to do in the day and all that good stuff. But it isn't easy without a doubt. And the decision-making process that we have to go through time and time and time again. We spend our whole day making decisions. And like I say, people don't have any type of touchstone to go back to and say, what's important to me now? And what am I looking for? And like now, right now, in my at the time of life I'm in, I have 5 pillars. So fun is my first one, because if I'm not having fun, I am done. Like if I'm not laughing at least once a day, I am so done. Freedom. So that's a big, big thing, especially coming obviously from a very high control environment. I get to make up my own mind. Finances, I have to obviously earn some money to cover bills and things like that. But there's also a bigger reason for the and faith. I do believe there is something out there that supports me, and I have a radical conversations with that. Like, okay, I'm doing this, you need to do that. Okay, I'm doing this, you need to do that. You need to support me because I'm down here. You need to support me. So I have a very radical conversation with that. And then philanthropy. And the reason I came back in such a big way was because I'm on the board for a project called Girls Matter. And we
Oh
make sure that
yeah,
girls
it's
in
Melissa.
Africa stay in school and aren't getting married off at 10 and 12 and 14 years of age, having babies. And people in North America aren't usually aware of that. The number one cause of death for girls globally between 15 and 19 is childbirth and pregnancy.
Wow.
And that number is now going down to the 10 to 14-year-olds. So every
Oh,
every time I'm earning money, portion of that is going to Girls Matter.
oh,
So
that's amazing.
25% of book sales is going to Girls Matter
Yeah,
because that makes a difference to me. So that's
that's
another
amazing.
decision is what
Hmm.
matters to you? What legacy do
Yeah,
you want to leave at the end of your life?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Tell us about your book because I know that it's all about decisions, 101 decisions that the
It is.
entrepreneurs
It is.
must make to move from chaos to
They're
structure.
not called chapters. They're called decisions
I love
because
it.
they are decisions. And they're set I divided into 7 parts. My favorite part, or the one I like talking about, is part number 4, and it is the unsexy stuff that changes everything. So, you know, you have to have fun, right? So I think that I like that.
Let
And
me
it's
guess, is
all
that to
things
do
we
with
don't,
like operations and organization and structure and stuff like
yes,
that?
all the systems and organizing
All
and
the
having
things
to
that I do. And
schedule and
people
then
are like, what you
following.
do is not sexy, Elisa. You need to find a different way to sell it. I'm like, yeah.
We'll just call it the unsexy stuff that you need. I mean, really, that's true. And
Yeah.
it's important, and we all want to do the fun stuff in our business, but that's not reality. So
Hmm.
what I have done is really tried to cover A to Z so that every part of an entrepreneurial's life, from their mindset, which is where it starts,
Hmm.
to everything that they're doing, it really can come together to create a successful business.
That's awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to read it. It's going to be so great. How can our listeners find you online?
JanJanzen.com. And that is that, and then there will be a website that will be directly linked also to this book, devilwithabriefcase.com. And there will be some fun things there. My hope, Elisa, is that entrepreneurs have the ability to make a massive difference in the world. We
Hmm.
have no income ceiling. There is nobody that tells us to play small. There's no one holding us back. It's only ourselves. And
Yeah.
there is so many places where more resources are needed. We can see that. You look around the world and you think, oh my goodness, that needs fixing and that needs fixing. As entrepreneurs, we have that ability, but we have to make the decision that A, that's important to us, and that we're willing to make the money that is needed to make the difference in the world. And that's a big one for a lot of entrepreneurs. And
Hmm.
I'm here to support and help in any way I can because I do believe entrepreneurs have the ability to make a big, big difference here. And we can do it.
We can do it.
We
Yeah.
just have to decide.
That's it. I was just going to ask you, would you have any final words of wisdom? But I feel like that's it, unless there's anything you wanted to add on to
There's
it.
one quote I usually leave with. Indecision is a decision. It's a
Mm,
decision to stay stuck.
yeah.
So if you're waffling, stop waffling and make the decision because clarity comes after you make a decision, not before.
Stop whining or winging it.
Stop whining. Stop whining.
Start winning. Yes. And winning in the ways of the things that are important to you, what your values are, what, legacy that you want to leave and start winning in those ways and ways that you want to give back. And yeah, I love that. Realizing that we are very empowered as entrepreneurs and we can make a
We
difference.
are.
Thank you so much for that. I absolutely love it.
No,
Thank you so much for
thank you for
being on the
having me.
show. Yeah, you're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.